Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to remind you of something powerful, something that can shape the course of your life, the strength of your love, the depth of your courage, and the limitless potential that lies within you. In this world, it's easy to forget your worth, to let fear hold you back, and to believe that your challenges are insurmountable. But let me tell you this, you have within you the power to overcome, to love, to rise above any obstacle. The journey ahead might not always be easy, but it will be worth it. And the greatest part of all is that you don't walk this path alone. Sometimes life hits harder than we ever expected. Dreams crumble. People walk away. But it's often in those exact moments, in the raw, broken spaces, that real love shines the brightest. Because love doesn't depend on circumstances being perfect. It doesn't show up only when you have everything figured out. It shows up in the hospital waiting room. It shows up in the quiet text message at midnight that says, "I'm here for you." It shows up in the friend who doesn't have all the answers but sits beside you anyway. Love steps into new sadness. It stands with you in the tension, in the confusion, in the silence. And somehow, just knowing someone cares enough to stay can start to lift you even when nothing else has changed yet. Real love doesn't just offer solutions, it offers presence. It doesn't rush you to get over it. It reminds you that your value isn't tied to your victories. You are worth loving simply because you exist, not because of what you can offer, not because you're always strong, but because you are you. When life lets you down, love becomes a lifeline. It reminds you that no fall is too deep, no failure too fine. This doesn't erase the pain, but it promises you won't have to face it alone. It's someone holding your hand when you feel like you're slipping. It's a voice telling you you're stronger than you think when your own voice is too shaky to believe it. Doors we counted on suddenly slam shut. And in those moments, it's easy to feel like we're all alone, abandoned, forgotten, left to pick up the pieces by ourselves. But love shows up differently. Love has a way of reaching into the middle of our mess and whispering, "You're not alone." When everything else seems to fall apart, love stands strong. It doesn't walk away when things get heavy. It doesn't leave when you're not at your best. It steps closer. There are days when your heart feels too heavy to carry. And on those days, you may look around and not see much hope. And even if no one else is around, even if human love seems far away, there is a love greater than any other, the love that comes from God. A love that saw you at your lowest and said, "Still, you are mine." A love that reaches across every barrier, every broken moment, and lifts you when you can't lift yourself. This love isn't based on what you've done or left undone. It's steady, faithful, and unchanging. It's the kind of love that doesn't back away when you struggle. It moves closer. Maybe you've had people walk out of your life. Maybe you've heard the wrong words spoken over you. Maybe life has handed you more than your share of pain. But love refuses to let those moments define you. Love refuses to let the bad chapters become the whole story. It leans in when others lean out. It hopes when everything else says there's no point. It carries you when your own legs feel too weak to stand. You see, love doesn't always take away the storm, but it gives you an anchor inside of it. It's the reason you can keep going when you feel like giving up. It's the quiet strength that tells you you are not forgotten. You are not too broken. You are not alone. And even when life lets you down, hard, unexpectedly, painfully, love still finds a way to lift you higher than you thought possible. There's a moment when everyone who loves deeply has to face the truth. Love is bigger than a feeling. Feelings come and go. They rise and fall like the ocean tides. Some days you wake up and you're overwhelmed with affection, excitement, passion. Other days you wake up and all you feel is tired, empty, even distant. That's human. That's real. But real love doesn't just depend on how you feel when you open your eyes in the morning. The real love is a decision you make, a choice you stand by even when the emotions aren't strong. Choosing love means showing up not only when it's convenient, but when it's inconvenient. It means speaking kindness when it would be easier to stay silent. It means forgiving even when part of you wants to hold on to the hurt. It's not just about the butterflies in your stomach. It's about the strength in your heart. Real love stays, works, listens, grows. It stretches itself through seasons of struggle and doubt and still refuses to give up. When people say they fell out of love, what they often mean is that the feelings changed. But feelings were never meant to be the foundation. If love were only a feeling, it would be as shaky as a leaf in the wind. One harsh word, one bad day, and it would crumble. But when love is a choice, it roots itself deeper than emotions. It becomes something steady, something you can lean on when life gets rough. You don't always feel like forgiving. You don't always feel like being patient. You don't always feel like putting someone else first. But real love does it anyway. Real love doesn't ask, what do I feel like doing today? He asks, what does love require of me today? Choosing love means loving when the other person doesn't deserve it. It means loving when it's not noticed or praised. It means loving when it's costly, when it costs you your pride, your comfort, your right to be right. And in that sacrifice, in that daily choosing, love becomes stronger, deeper, more beautiful than anything mere emotions could create. You can't build a lifelong relationship on feelings alone. You can't build a family, a friendship, a community without the foundation of choice. Feelings can spark the beginning, but choice carries you through the middle, through the storms, through the unknown. Love says, even on the days I don't feel it, I will still choose you. Love says, even when it's easier to quit, I will stay. Love says, even when you're not at your best, I will see the best in you. That's where the real power of love lies, not in fleeting emotions, but in steadfast commitment. Choosing love doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It doesn't mean letting yourself be mistreated or staying in unhealthy situations. It means that even when it's hard, you seek the good, you protect the bond, you work through the mess because you believe in something greater than the momentary. Feelings follow focus. When you focus on love, when you keep choosing it day after day, the feelings often return, richer and stronger than before. But even when they don't immediately, even when the heart feels dry and stretched thin, real love doesn't stop. It keeps giving, it keeps believing, it keeps hoping. Real love is the small, daily yes that no one else sees. It's the gentle patience when tempers flare. It's the late night conversations after a long, exhausting day. It's the 1,000 little sacrifices that slowly weave two hearts together in a bond that nothing can break. Love is not just something you fall into. It's something you build. It's something you fight for. It's something you choose again and again and again. There are moments in life when you don't feel lovable at all. Moments when the weight of your mistakes, your regrets, your flaws feels too heavy to carry. Maybe you've said things you wish you could take back. Maybe you've made decisions that hurt yourself or others. Maybe you've simply come to a place where you don't like who you've become. It's easy to believe that love is reserved for when you're strong, successful, smiling, when you're at your best. But the truth is, you are loved even at your worst. Real love doesn't wait for you to get it all together. It doesn't ask you to clean up before you're welcomed. It doesn't keep a checklist of your failures or use your weaknesses against you. Real love sees all the mess, all the broken places, and still says you are worth it. You don't have to earn that kind of love. You don't have to perform for it or pretend you're someone you're not. When everything in you feels undeserving, when shame whispers that you're too far gone, love speaks louder. It says you are still seen, still wanted, still precious. At your lowest point, when you feel like you've lost everything, your dignity, your hope, your sense of direction, love steps closer, not farther away. It's in those moments of raw honesty, when there's nothing left to hide behind, that you begin to see just how deep love really runs. It doesn't flinch at your brokenness. It doesn't walk away because you're messy or complicated or hard to understand. Love stays. Love embraces the whole of who you are, not just the parts that are polished and easy to celebrate. There's a kind of love that holds you when you can't hold yourself together. It whispers to you when you're too ashamed to lift your head. It stands guard over your soul when your heart feels like it's shattering. It carries you when you don't have the strength to move forward. And the beauty of it is, This love doesn't lessen when you struggle. It rises to meet you even more. You may think your worst moments define you. You may believe that the mistakes you've made are who you are. But love knows better. Love sees the deeper truth, that you are not your failures, you are not your shame, you are not your darkest days. You are a story still being written, and your worth has never been up for debate. Love is not afraid of your past. It's not intimidated by your doubts, your anger, your fears. It's not looking for perfection. It's looking for your heart. Even if it's bruised, even if it's guarded, even if it's barely hanging on, the love that matters most is not conditional. It's not based on how good you can be or how many times you can prove yourself. It's being offered freely, relentlessly, without expiration. It's the kind of love that chased you when you were running the other way, the kind that covered you when you felt exposed and vulnerable, the kind that never gave up on you when you wanted to give up on yourself. It has a power in knowing you are loved, even at your worst. It changes the way you see yourself. It gives you permission to heal. It frees you from the chains of shame and fear. It invites you to stand up, to try again, to believe that your story isn't over. Even when you can't feel it, even when you can't see it, love is still there. Unwavering, unchanging, undeterred. It holds your hand when you're too afraid to walk forward. It reminds you that no mistake is bigger than mercy, no failure bigger than grace. You are loved not because you're perfect. You are loved because you are you, created, valued, and held, even when you feel at your very worst. There's something powerful that happens when you step outside of yourself and love someone else. When you choose to care, to give, to lift someone who's struggling, it doesn't just change their life, it changes yours. You might think that giving away your love would leave you empty, but somehow it fills you up even more. It's one of life's beautiful mysteries. When you pour out love, you don't run out, you overflow. Some people spend their whole lives asking what's missing. They chase career goals, achievements, positions, but something still feels hollow. That's because you were never designed to just get. You were made to give. You were made to shine. When you love others, you reconnect with the very core of who you are. You're not just a collection of achievements or failures. You're living life meant to brighten a world that can sometimes be dark and cold. Every time you choose kindness over indifference, every time you choose compassion over judgment, you are building a life that glows from the inside out. Each of those moments is a spark, and when you keep lighting sparks, eventually you find yourself living inside a fire you never want to lose. It's easy to get wrapped up in your own problems, your own struggles, your own fears. But love calls you higher. Love calls you to see beyond yourself. When you lift someone else, you realize you're lifting yourself too. You're breaking free from isolation, from selfishness, from the smallness of living only for yourself. And that freedom is grating. It's like stepping out of the shadows and into the light. There's a kind of happiness that you can't find by chasing it directly. You can chase success, chase approval, chase comfort, but none of it will truly satisfy the deep places inside you. But when you love others, when you look someone in the eyes and show them they matter, something awakens in you. Your heart grows bigger. Your world gets brighter. Your life takes on a meaning that comfort alone could never offer. Loving others isn't always grand or dramatic. Sometimes it's the smallest acts that shine the brightest. A kind word when someone's having a rough day. A hand reaching out to someone who feels forgotten. A simple text that says, "You matter to me." Sometimes it's hard to love. Sometimes people hurt you or take advantage of your kindness. Sometimes your efforts aren't noticed or appreciated. But love was never meant to be transactional. Real love gives without keeping score. Real love serves without demanding a receipt. And even when it seems unnoticed, it's never wasted. Because every act of love you sow plants seeds that grow inside you, shaping your character, strengthening your soul, lighting up your life in ways you can't always see at first. Loving others doesn't mean you lose yourself. It means you find the best parts of yourself. It means you tap into a strength you didn't even know you had. The strength to be gentle, the strength to be patient, the strength to keep believing in goodness, even when the world tries to make you bitter. When you give love away, you're not giving up your joy, you're multiplying it. You're creating ripples that can reach farther than you ever know. You're building a legacy that's measured not by how much you had, but by how much you gave. And the amazing thing is, the more you love, the more you grow. Your heart stretches wider, your spirit soars higher, your life burns brighter. The very act of loving others shapes you into a person who lives with open hands and an open heart. A person who radiates a light that others can see, feel, and be drawn toward. And sometimes the life you change most when you love is your own. And something about love that has the power to erase fear. When you love deeply, when you love someone with all your heart, with all your soul, you find yourself standing taller, braver, and more confident than you ever thought possible. Love makes you feel strong even when you feel weak. It makes you believe in possibilities when everything seems impossible. It makes you take a step when you're standing at the edge of something new, even though you can't see the next step. Think about it. When you love someone, you'll fight for them. You'll stand up for them, even when it's difficult, even when others might not understand. Why? Because love is fearless. Love doesn't ask permission to protect, to support, or to give. It just does it. Love doesn't count the cost or weigh the consequences. Fear can hold you back. It can make you shrink, hesitate, and doubt. But love propels you forward even when the road ahead is uncertain. Love is a kind of strength that doesn't need to see the full picture to keep moving. It keeps walking even in the unknown, even when the future seems unclear. When you love, you don't let fear hold you hostage. Fear might still knock on your door, but love answers. And love tells you that it's okay to move forward even when the world says stay back. Love tells you that it's okay to take a risk even when everything inside you says it might fail. It's a courage that rises from the deepest parts of you, a quiet assurance that no matter the outcome, you are loved, and that love is enough to carry you through anything. You see, fear thrives in isolation. It loves to grow when you're alone, when you feel unsupported, when you think you're fighting your battles by yourself. But love shatters isolation. Love builds connections. When you know that someone believes in you, when you know someone has your back, fear loses its grip. It moves forward because it knows that what's at stake is worth it. It knows that what's in front of you, a family, a relationship, a future, is worth standing for, even if it feels risky. And the beautiful thing about love is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't have to be fearless to love fearlessly. You don't have to have it all together. You just need the willingness to show up and stand firm even when the storm is raging around you. Love doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It makes every moment perfect. It takes your flaws, your uncertainties, your brokenness, and still it calls you to be strong. It calls you to rise. When you love without fear, you learn to take chances, to embrace uncertainty, to leap even when you're not sure what's waiting on the other side. Love invites you to trust that even if you fall, even if you fail, love will still be there to catch you, to rebuild you, to remind you that you are not defined by your mistakes, but by your willingness to keep trying. Fear can make you shrink back from taking that step, but love makes you step forward, even when the outcome is unknown. It's in those moments when you choose love over fear that you realize just how much power you have. You realize that your fear doesn't own you, your love does. And love doesn't shrink, it grows. It spreads, it rises above. Think about how love has made you brave before. Maybe it was loving someone enough to speak your truth. Maybe it was loving yourself enough to leave something unhealthy behind. Maybe it was loving your dreams enough to chase them even when doubt whispered in your ear. It takes your anxious heart and turns it into courage. It replaces doubt with trust, hesitation with boldness. The more you love, the more you realize that there's no room for fear to stay. Love makes fear feel small. Love makes the impossible seem possible. It makes the darkness feel lighter and the journey feel worth it. When you're filled with love, you are filled with strength, and that strength carries you through the hardest moments with a grace you didn't know you had. So remember this, love makes you fearless, not because it removes all the risks or uncertainties, but because it gives you the power to face them. Love makes you strong enough to stand tall, even when the ground beneath you feels shaky. It makes you bold enough to speak up even when your voice shakes. And in that strength, in that boldness, you become a light that fear cannot dim. In the end, life will challenge you. There will be days when fear tries to stop you, when love feels out of reach, when the road ahead seems uncertain. But remember this, you are capable of greatness. You are stronger than you know, and the love within you is more powerful than any obstacle that stands in your way. The choices you make, the love you give, the courage you summon, these will light your path, no matter how dark it may seem. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, yeah. Listen to Shine. Write it in. You are more than enough. You are more than enough. And your story is just beginning.